Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
Ron calling in for a change instead of me calling in from some makeshift studio. The tables have turned once again. And on today's lovely, Brewtiful episode, we've got a couple of topics when it comes to the Premier League. We're just going to hit the big ones, the highlights of Liverpool and Man City. You wrote Liverpool and Man City's unbeaten run in the league. That is the wrong title. It is.
Here he goes. I really need to lock this document.
There you go, Ferris. I've just changed it for you. Yeah, it's called Invincible's Day. You got that wrong. That's what that's called. Just in case you were wondering.
God damn.
Yes, strikes. And then next up. And then you write just a blatantly untrue headline. We've got it. Ferris, what is going on here? A communication issue at Leeds postponed their match against Arsenal several minutes. Bond villain Arteta to blame.
I meant to actually save that until you read the headline down the way, and I thought I deleted that out already, and I did not. Because I wanted that to be down there, but...
Because in all actuality, the match between Leeds United and table toppers Arsenal was temporarily suspended shortly after kickoff due to a power cut at Ellen Road, which disabled all communication between the Hawkeye and VAR officials, per ESPN. Just had to tweak that a little bit. And then we go on to the Sultan of Sausage, the bon vivant of bologna.
What? Is that even a word?
Yes, it is.
Oh my god!
Wow.
I was trying to go with another one. I was dry, just dry sausage. That's all I had left. The Duke of Dry Sausage. There we go. As he drops a bombshell. Talking about Ron, he drops a bombshell on some news on a Trappist brewery and shares some other news from around the world of beer before we end with the triumphant return of the La Liga's Roundup. We really need a sound cue for that.
But we have a sound cue.
For the La Liga's Roundup?
Yeah, but I believe it's on Ron's
board.
Oh,
it might be on Ron's. I got to load that on my board as well.
Because that's what I would personally like the sound to be for. Is
it Jose Mourinho yelling match night?
No. I mean, technically that could be it because he's in Italy, so he's in the La Liga's realm, but no.
Well, first, though, we got to get on to our beer. So we got 3 different brews because we're in 3 different locations tonight. What do you gents have as I try to finagle my beer out of this thing?
I guess I'll go first. So last week, I met with a friend of the pod, Caitlin, and we discussed some stuff that Caitlin and I might be doing some content for the NWSL, but nonetheless, we went to Tactical Brewing in the area. Now, the brew is not from Tactical. We have had Tactical brewers on there. But afterwards, I went to her car, and she handed me a single can, said you can either split it with Ron on the pod, or you can have it yourself. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to be a little selfish, and I'm going to have it for myself, knowing that Ron was going to be out of town this week. And she brought back from a brewery that actually Ron and I have been to before in Juneau, Alaska, Devil's Club Brewing Company. And she brought back a Centennial Macchiato Mocha Stout with lactose.
That sounds like that would tear my stomach up if I didn't take a pill.
So I think I said it wrong. A Sentinel Macchiato Mocha Stout with lactose, 6%. And on devilsclubbrewing.com, if you head over to beer and then the limited cans, because it is a limited release from them, the description says, the 2 best things in the world, coffee and beer, join forces to create an awakening new milk stout. Sentinel Coffee roasted us 18 pounds of delicious organic beans from Mexico that we steeped in the fermenter for a couple of days before adding lactose to create that luscious body and roasty toastiness you can only get from a lightly creamed cup of joe.
I just like the phrase roasty toast. what is it? Roasted toastiness?
Yes, luscious body and roasty toastiness.
I love that. What a good descriptor.
Yeah. I don't know if we've ever had anything on the pod from them. I know maybe me and Ron mentioned it when we brought back, or when we came back from Alaska that we went to that brewery, but I don't think we ever brought anything back. So, again, Devil's Club Brewing Company in Juneau, Alaska, and they are hiring right now for cooks and beer tenders. So if you live in that area and want a job, go ahead and submit to them.
And if you get one, please tell them the Brewtiful Game sent you, because that would be hysterical to me if that's what happened.
That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, it would be.
It's kind of cool. They give what did the thing say on there when I joined the site or logged in the site? So it says hiring cook and beer tender starting rate, and I won't necessarily show that, but perks include equal split tips, daily meals, beer, and $75 a month taproom stipend. That's kind of cool.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it's the beer that I'm having tonight, gents.
Well, over here, I'm going to go with another local brewery from Alcoa, Tennessee, which is like outside of Knoxville. A company called Black Horse Brewery. They are a wicked good brewery in the area. But this is a cool little collaboration. I'll try to show you guys the cans if I can. But it is the...
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's got like the Legacy Parks symbol. It's the Legacy Parks Trail Ale Hazy IPA. So this is a joint venture between them and Legacy Parks. If you go to legacyparks.org.
Did you bring this to Ontario?
No. That was the one about the bike trail. This is a different one.
That's right.
They partnered.
Okay.
And I think that was a different brewery, actually. This is the Legacy Parks Foundation. So their whole mission is to conserve our natural resources, creating public spaces, connecting communities. So throughout Knoxville, what they do is they preserve the ridges and the views. So they fight to make sure that like all the views, the rolling hills and mountainside nature don't get taken away in development. They connect the greenways and trails. They maintain the health and access to the waterways, create recreational opportunities for the underserved, and exceed national average for public parks and green spaces in a city is their goal. And this is a delicious hazy IPA, almost kind of like a session-y one. They produce this hazy IPA to accompany you on your outdoor adventures. Feel good about packing this handcrafted brew, knowing proceeds from your purchase benefit Legacy Parks' mission to expand parks and trails, conserve East Tennessee's open spaces, and give more places to get you out and play. Black Horse Brews.
Nice. Well, as Blake said, I am out traveling, and I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. I would say Roll Tide, but they're all really sore from their loss to the Bulls.
Old Rocky Top. Woo! Rocky Top, Tennessee.
I figured that was coming at some point.
So I picked a local craft beer called a brewery called Old Black Bear. That's the name of the brewing company. But I picked their Cave City Lager, which is 21 on the IBUs, 5.2 ABV. As you guys can check out the can on the...
It's a sleek looking can.
And if you go to oldblackbear.com, you can check them out. They're kind of, I don't know, I think I would get along with this brewery. Their tagline is, hard work has its reward. There's a story behind every beer. We have a total irreverence for anything connected with society, except that which makes the roads safer and the beer stronger.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
So this is they're called the Cave City Lager. It's a dark lager, German Dunkel-inspired American amber lager with a signature hop aroma. The complex combination of noble hops and Munich malts enable our lager to be paired with a wide variety of food items, and its clean lager finish really hits the spot on those hot summer days. It's best paired with barbecue, robust fish. I don't know what that means.
Robust fish, not light fish.
No
robust
tilapia.
Fish.
Yeah. Throwing down.
Yeah. And spicy sausage.
Oh, I do love some spicy sausage.
Ron is the sausage king.
Yes, he is. Fits well.
They have looks like they have a pretty good variety of beers on their website, so you should go check it out. It's rated pretty well on Untapped as well, so I'm going to give that a whirl.
All right. What was your
Nice.
style again, Ferris?
What's that?
What was your style? Your beer?
Mine is a mocha milk stout.
Oh, Ferris went the dark one. All right. Ron and I got the drinkable beers.
And Ron, I went to their site, the oldblackbear.com, and I love their little tagline: "Hard work has its rewards."
Yeah. It's not too far from me. If I have some time, I'm going to go check it out. But where I'm staying, which is kind of right in the smack dab middle downtown, there's a bunch of breweries right around me. So I'm going to try and get out to check some of those out. So keep an eye on our Untapped for some local Alabama beer.
Boom. Shall we do this, gents? Let's crack these bad boys open. Ah, there we go. Christen this new desk with a little bit more beer.
Oh, I got a little bit on my hand as I opened it. Man, that tastes like a chocolate milk right there all of a sudden. I'm pouring this.
Mine smells amazing because I needed to add a little hazy IPA to the aroma of this office. That did not take long at all. At all.
Oh, this is really good.
That's a bartender's pour right there.
Cheers, gents.
I only have the can, so no crazy art pictures.
Look at that.
So this one's pretty good. It definitely has that kind of a light lager feel to it. It's got tiny bit of like coffee and caramel notes in it, just a tiny bit, probably from roasting. But it's definitely clean and and a good finish with, I don't really taste as much hops as they say, are in it, but I sure do smell them.
Mine is a very, very creamy tasting hazy IPA. It's delicious. It's very smooth. Not too hoppy.
Mine is like a beautifully mixed, like evening stout that you can just enjoy. That gives you that heavy coffee taste, a little bit of tea in there as well. Which I know on the can it says that it's Sentinel Coffee and Tea, but it's just. It's you get vanilla, you get essentially an alcoholic coffee, but cold and at night, and it's beautiful. Thank you, Tony and Caitlin.
That's delicious. Speaking of good beer at night, I had my first fire in the backyard. We put our fire pit out there. Oh my gosh!
Heck yeah,
that was fantastic. So nice, so nice. I don't know why the beer just tastes better by a fire, but it does.
It always
does.
Oh my gosh! And you were having a campfire at the same time, right, Ron?
Yeah, I was. It was a little warmer down in Florida, but a bunch of friends were having a tree fell through my house burning party.
Well, that's funny.
That's what we do here in Florida.
Mine was we had a dead tree in the backyard that had to come down. So there you go.
Yeah, we had a bunch of tasty brews and sat by a fire. One of the best things to do when you have a beer.
Amen to that. The other good thing to do while you're having a beer is watch some Premier League. How you like that segue?
Look at that.
Let's move on to the deadlines. How about the headlines instead? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Liverpool in Man City's unbeaten run. Happy Invincibles Day to everybody. Just a great day where, again, Arsene Wenger's record is not going to be touched. Long may it rain. As Man City's unbeaten run is ended in the league as they keep Haaland and City off the score sheet by kicking Haaland squad in the nuts. That
picture is great.
It looks like if you've ever done any stage combat and learned how to do a fake kick to the groin, which you actually kind of kick and go through, it looks like one of those.
It's perfect.
It looks like a stunt guy getting kicked in the ding-a-ling. It's pretty amazing.
But did you zoom in on their faces?
Yes, it's so great. Oh my goodness.
It looked like it was a hell of a kick too.
Yeah. I mean,
it was like full boot to nuts. It was
but nuts of steel, it didn't hurt.
Norwegian nuts of steel.
Exactly. It just went, Liverpool just heard clang, and they got a little scared.
Like, he really is a Terminator.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, I'm going to tear through this beer. It's so good. So probably one of the best 1-0 matches you're going to see. A bit of everything, including really good chances on goal from both clubs. Speaking of Haaland, he probably should have had one. A VAR goal called off decision, and even a red card to Jurgen Klopp, of all people. But it's Liverpool in the end who become the first team in the league to end Manchester City's unbeaten run, courtesy of a fantastic Mohamed Salah goal in the 76th minute.
We actually had a run like that and a shot at goal like that earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just missed it.
But what was really cool was, do you know who got the assist on this?
The goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper, yeah.
Alisson, yeah, with a hell of a ball out, like, which is really ironic when you think about it, because what is Pep like in his goalies? Goalies that can play it with their feet. Like, Pep was probably drooling over that ball that he played, going, why can't my keeper do that? Because that was a hell of a ball. And a little bit of a mistake there from Cancelo, and that's what got him in. But this, I caught a majority of this game, and it was really a lot of chances back and forth. I think the goal being called off, while you didn't see it at first, or it wasn't that prominent at first, I think in the end was the correct call. It was a foul Haaland on, I think, Fabinho, and a really evident shirt pull there. So not a lot between the two, and this gave you vibes that they were 1 and 2 in the table again and trying to fight for that top spot, although neither of them are at top right now. So, but nonetheless, a hell of a match.
It's
well, if you look back, Liverpool's had Manchester City's number quite a few times in the recent past. So I was actually not surprised that they played City so tough. I was more surprised that City seemed to not be communicating very well. I mean, it was still a good match, don't get me wrong, but City didn't seem to be communicating very well, and they seemed kind of listless. That ruthlessness in attack was not there.
Yeah, I don't. It was They definitely caught Haaland on an off day, right? He had a couple of chances, a couple balls played in the box that he could have had with his head and put it on target. Some of his balls into the box to other players on the team weren't as precise as we've seen. It was an interesting match, and one that probably is going to mean bad things for the rest of the league, because City losing this early, they're going to adjust, make changes, adapt, and then you start to steamroll folks.
Yeah, the only caveat being this weird year of they'll start making changes and then there's a World Cup and a pause. So it's hard to say. I feel like that's going to be a bit of a reset, for a lot of clubs.
Yeah, sure. But I don't know if it's going to affect City as much as I don't know if it's going to affect every team as much as we think it's going to. There will be certain players here and there, and yes, City have a lot of them, as well as the top 4 or 5, 6 clubs do in the league. But what we've seen over the years from City and Pep, is that they do adapt after a loss, and they usually come back and go on a good run. And that run could be from now until November the 15th or whenever they're done playing, So on the other side, though, Liverpool, boy, did they need this win.
Could this be a turnaround?
Could be.
Yeah, that's what everybody keeps talking about, that, this could be the leverage that Klopp's men needed to, get a bit of confidence and turn their season around.
Klopp's going to be watching from the box of the next games.
He'll get a great view of the match. He can come hang out with us.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
As to why he got a red?
Yeah, he was all over the fourth official and complaining.
No, the linesman.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you're right.
It's
the linesman.
Yeah.
And then they called over the ref, which I want to say was Anthony Taylor.
Might have been.
Could be wrong. And he was mouthing off to him. And then I guess the ref said, hey, stop it or you're going to get a card. And Klopp said, oh, yeah, give me the card. Like right to the camera. It was so perfect. He's like, give me the card.
Boom,
give me the card.
Walk.
He shows him the card. And Klopp thanks him and wanders off.
0 Fs to give from Mr. Jurgensen.
And it all started from a missed foul call on Salah in the corner later in the game, right? Because the card wasn't given until the 86th. Yeah, so like it just kind of an interesting, interesting match, and because of all the injuries, the cards, everything that took place, there was 9 extra minutes in this one, which we've seen that a bit this week with some very lengthy extra time, but that's certainly up there.
So one interesting thing to note is that Man City were supposed to play Arsenal this coming week, and that game was postponed.
Because of the Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the club.
Goes in Arsenal's favor again. What do you know?
That was the club that was in town to play the game. And there was some kind of controversy as to why the UEFA didn't just give them the points if the club wasn't going to play. I don't know. It was weird. I guess it's kind of unprecedented. How many times can you plan for that? But
I think Arsenal do play though, right? Don't you guys play Thursday in a made up?
That's what we're saying.
Europa League match?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the team. That's the team that was in town.
Gotcha.
They were ready to play and then didn't play. So then, they moved around.
PSV Eindhoven.
Yes. So it'd be a home game against PSV Eindhoven.
All right. So who do you gents, kind of last thoughts on this, who do you gents think, or hold on. Your option is Man City finish first. Would you rather have, or hold on.
You're doing good at this.
I absolutely this one up. I had a good proposal in my head, and now it's completely gone and makes no sense. So do you think that both Man City and Liverpool will finish in the top 4 this year?
I don't know you know what? Obviously, this is the easy answer to say, but I need like 2 more matches from Liverpool. I don't know. If because they've been playing pretty dire, but there's certainly more talent than how they've been playing, right? So,
sure.
Could this be the thing that fires them up? I mean,
it totally moves Liverpool up to 8th.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. They have 13 points.
It's a long season.
Yeah,
now, they have a game in hand, though, too, because a lot of these games were postponed.
That's true. A game in hand, they could easily be in, striking distance of the Champions League with another game in their hand. So, yeah, sure. I mean, never count them out. I mean, above them, you have Brighton, Newcastle, Man United, Chelsea. They could squeeze up there.
Yeah, I think Ron said it, though. It's still a long season.
Yeah.
I think the answer is yes. I think you have Liverpool playing West Ham on the 19th, Nottingham Forest on the 22nd, then Leeds, then Tottenham on November 6th.
Nottingham going to get that win, going to get that W.
all winnable games. I think the hardest one out of their next 3 in the Premier League is West Ham.
Which usually have caused them a little bit of issues in the past.
They have.
So.
You never, West Ham, even when they're on a bit of a struggle bus.
That's actually tomorrow, by the way.
Any day.
No.
No. Tomorrow.
Today's Monday. That's Wednesday, the 19th.
Yeah, day 17th. Ferris, you did not transmute through time.
Oh, you're right.
Ron's
it is
only
Wednesday.
an
I don't
hour.
know why it said it was tomorrow.
Ron's only an hour behind us.
Yeah.
It's probably
all sorts of messed up over here.
It's because if you're looking at a British site, they'll say it's tomorrow because they're already past
it's
midnight.
Foot mob. Yeah, so that's fair.
Yep, das ist Vi. Unless that's a reschedule that is being squozen in, which I don't think that's the case. No,
I don't think they both finish in the top 4. I think Man City most certainly will, but I think Liverpool will end just outside, but we'll see.
Shall we move on?
I was confused. Sorry. You said that they won't both be in, as in not that they won't both be out of the top 4, but only one of them will be. No, I got
Correct.
you. I heard that at first when you were saying, I went, that's insane. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
All right. Moving on. So as we reported earlier, Ferris erroneously put together this poorly placed headline here. A communication issue at Leeds postpones their match against Arsenal several minutes. Bond villain Arteta to blame. Dun, dun, dun. Just a minute after kickoff at Ellen Road, officials lost all communication with VAR and goal line technology, which is called Hawkeye, and I like that. It's
Correct.
called that. Yeah, they were like 50 seconds in. They halted it. There was a power flicker. I did not see that live, but they said that the TV, like the jumbotrons or whatever, flickered on.
Where was Arteta when this happened?
He was on the pitch. He was out there on the pitch.
Okay.
But the
that
villain
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
He can remote into that. That's easy.
Yeah, that's what henchmen are for. But I mean, I don't. It was such an odd thing because they waited so long. They kept them out there for what? What was it? Time period? It was.
They kicked off the match just before what would have been halftime of the match.
So so 50. They took for about 50 seconds. They postponed the match, and all you saw were, I know we're on a podcast, but it was like all the guys playing charades as they're like tapping their ears, like in the James Bond movie where there's like, "Don't touch your damn ear," like
Right.
like that's all I could think of. And so that was out. They postponed for 10 minutes. Then to booze and chants from the crowd, they then sent everybody into the dressing room. And then 30 minutes later, like you said, right about when the half would have ended, I guess, actually, they started right when halftime should have started.
Yeah.
And it was a hot mess. And it's funny looking at the commentary from the general public and some of the pundits about it is, I mean, I think we all knew this, right? If any match lost the ability for VAR to chime in, they're going to hold because it's not fair to, integrity of the league, right? If this match goes on that VAR.
Because it's supposed to be in every game across the board,
right.
And I think more than that is that goal line, right? We've seen how...
Right, the goal line especially.
Like, there's no argument with that. That's great that we should have that in every league around the world. That thing's great. So for the integrity of the league, it has to be available in all Premier League games. If it's not, that's why I'm getting to a postponement.
Do you know what's really helps the integrity of the league? Applying consistent rules, handballs.
Go on, yes.
Violent conduct in players.
Yes.
Like, come on.
Love it.
I mean, I get the whole, the integrity of the league, but this is like stepping over $1 to pick up a dime. Come on.
But the integrity being that everyone's got to have crappy VAR. No one gets to not have it.
Fair.
Everybody's got to have it.
If I'm going to have this crap, you're going to have this crap.
Yeah, everybody's got to have it.
And we're all going to deal with it and suffer together.
And the general consensus among a lot of, fans, especially those, honest to God over there, British fans, everybody's just like, it feels like this was the straw on the camel's back that admitted to them that VAR is so important, the game can't be had without it now. And I mean, I think we all knew this is what would happen, but I don't know, seeing the reality of it play out when people are like, what are we going to do? I mean, we could do it. Have we done it for the last 100 years? No, we can't do that. I mean, so it just was a eye-opening look at the reality that is VAR. But both sets of teams, they stay on the pitch a bit before retreating to the locker room. Lengthy delay results in the match kicking off. And then let's see. Being outplayed for majority of the match, a lone Saka goal. I don't think that's true. I think the first half was pretty even between the two teams, and then Arsenal let off the gas in the second half. But because there were some good chances in the first half, it was a pretty fun game that first half. But a lone Saka goal in the 35th, a missed wide pin from striker Patrick Bamford, and once again a contentious red card and VAR decision. Sum up the day as Arsenal stay atop of the league with a scoreline of 1-0, which became a whole lot bigger deal when Man City lost to Liverpool.
Which
that was after
the game was still being played at the start of kickoff.
Yeah,
which is kind of weird. It should have been done beforehand, but the game probably should have been a draw. The amount of chances that Leeds had and just didn't convert. Bamford probably should have had a hat trick. These are the games that if Arsenal do go on to win the league, for instance, you look back and circle and go, these are a big 3 points to get there.
Yeah, what did we say the year when Liverpool won the league? It was like, well, they were not the best team today, and they still won. And that's the teams that somehow managed to go on and win or do well in the end of seasons when you can not play your best and still come away with a win at the end of the day. That wide penalty from Bamford, though, they hate him right now. He's getting a lot of crap.
You know what I don't like is that short sleeve motherfucking keeper you guys have, who's the most arrogant bitch in the world, and Ronaldo buried pens against him last year when he ran his damn mouth, gets up and just yells right in Bamford's face. Like, this isn't Man United Arsenal where you had Keown and Ruud van Nistelrooy. They'd be chirping the entire match, and there was hard tackles and there was fights. This is a Sunday game against Leeds, who've been freaking struggling, and you're on the road, and you're going to get up and yell in his mouth.
Okay, Gary. Oh, man, it's so great. Welcome to the pod, Gary Neville, ladies and gentlemen. The man who is very sure that no one should ever celebrate anything in a hard-won match, no matter who you're playing.
I'm not saying that, but he got up and went straight for him and went in his face.
That should be unsportsmanlike conduct.
That should be a card. Like that. It's one thing to celebrate and be amped that you didn't save a pen. It was missed. Like, so you really didn't do anything. You didn't save a pen, and yet you still do that. Had he had this awesome one-handed save, I might get a little bit more. And had Bamford been chirping him up the entire game and he made this save, okay, fine. He just missed the pen wide, and you get up and you only got like.
If you want to watch the No Fun League, they play every Sunday in the United States. You can go get penalties left and right for celebrating and having fun.
It's classless. It describes Arsenal in a complete whole. And the contentious card, in my opinion, what evidence is there to overturn that red that was called on the field?
If Bamford hadn't made such a meal of it, he probably would have been fine.
Jesus made a meal of the challenge last week that was called on the field. Making a
Jesus got hit
that we've clearly talked about has nothing to do with it.
Jesus got hit.
Bamford got hit.
No, he didn't. Go back and watch that thing again. It's a joke. Bamford doesn't get hit.
The foot doesn't touch him at all.
The first foot does. The second foot that comes up, he raises his arm up and meets it, and then grabs his hip as if it hit him in the hip and falls to the ground screaming. I'm telling you, if he hadn't done that, because if you watch the game live, the ref goes over when it's called, sees the initial shove from Bamford to make it a foul on Bamford to take away the penalty, but then he stops and watches that second half over and over. To which I was like, I wonder what he's getting at. But all he got out was, you really didn't get hit. I'm gonna give you a yellow for unsportsmanlike conduct, but there's no penalty. Get out of here.
There was that much evidence to overturn a red to a yellow in that incident. You can call it not a pen; it was a foul on him to begin with. But the analogy that
so
I
why
stick
is it
with.
So why is it contentious,
is
right?
If you foul me, I get up and I throw a punch, but I miss.
That's not the same thing.
What am I?
That's not remotely the same thing. You stand back up and you square up and throw a punch and miss.
No,
it's completely different than falling on the ground and flicking your foot out, man. That's so
he
different.
Didn't flick. He purposely tried to kick Bamford in the stomach or wherever he could get.
You need to watch that again because that is
I did.
not.
I watched it.
Same
times.
here. It's at his hand if it's at anything. It's not at his stomach.
Where it's intent. It's intent. It's aggressive behavior with intent to kick Bamford. That's dangerous intent. That's aggressive intent. The linesman saw it on the field, called him over, and said, "This is what occurred." The ref then gave him a card.
And then the ref watched the video.
When you go over to the video and look, what there is clear and obvious to overturn that. Because that's what happened. Whether he made a smidge of contact or not, whether Bamford made a meal of it or not, that's the part that I just don't get. It had no relevance on the game because it was not a pen, and Arsenal would have gone on to win 1-0. But that inconsistency of what did they see there that was so clear and obvious from what the linesman saw on the side? The linesman saw the action of that foot going up and trying to kick him. So that's what showed in the replay. That's what's so confusing to me.
So I think really from an impartial perspective, I think both of them were being petulant little children.
Oh yes, 100%.
And so the ref wasn't going to reward anybody's kind of gutless 12-year-old behavior.
I think that that is exactly it. He was like, I'm not going to give this to either one of you.
But he gave it to him to be.
No, I mean,
again,
like,
what's clear and obvious for VAR to overturn that? That's my only issue with it. Had it been called a yellow on the field and in play, I don't think that's. You're not going over and overturning that. But this was an overturned card. But what is there? Because they both are being petulant, we're going to overturn it? Like, that's not anywhere.
Well, no, but you also don't know the verbiage used by the line judge to tell the head ref what actually happened, because the head ref obviously didn't see it or only saw part of it. So then,
hello, mate. What happened was when Grabio went to the ground, he threw a kick at Bamford, and Bamford went down like a little bitch. So I think he kicked him, but then one guy was a bitch. So let's just give him yellow cards, all right?
Well, last week
that was probably the combo between
last
VAR
week,
and
we went to Dermot Gallagher's
oh god, not
answer.
This
So do you want that?
Muppet again.
Here we go.
He's the one that gave some guy 3 yellow cards in a game. Yeah, let's trust this guy.
It's not his job to count. Former Premier League referee Dermot Gallagher believes Kavanaugh and VAR came to the correct decision to not award a penalty and not to send off Gabriel. He said that Arsenal center back was petulant and reckless in his actions, but non-violent. I think it's really interesting because the referee doesn't give anything, but the assistant says, I think he's kicked out violently. So he's given a penalty and a red card. You see, that's quite clearly a foul. The leg comes up. It's petulant, it's unsporting, but it's not violent because it's a boot up as opposed to a boot back and a kick. I think the right decision has been given. Without that, Arsenal could have possibly lost 2 points and they'd have lost a player for 3 matches. It's petulant and reckless at worst, but it's not violent for me. Free kick to Arsenal because the foul was Bamford. Unfair to have a center back serving a 3-ban match for something that wasn't an act of violent conduct.
I don't know. Chuck Norris's kick to the side is pretty dangerous. Whether it's up
raising
or down.
Raising a boot up and kicking it out. 2 different things is what this gentleman here is saying.
Whatever. Let's move.
Well, you're going to have to both agree to disagree because we got to move on.
Dun. I was going to play my audio key over here, and something screwed up with the recording. My pads aren't working. Luckily, we still are, though. So, other results from the Invincible Day weekend consists of Brentford and Brighton kicked off the weekend on Friday night as Ivan Toney's double saw Brentford take all 3 points at home, 2-0 to Brentford. Brighton slipping,
a lot of chances.
Slipping a bit, though, here, right? They were punching way above weight, and now reality may be setting in, it seems like.
A lot of chances, a lot of missed. They had opportunities. This game could have easily been 2-2 or 3-3. They just had it was back and forth for a bit.
Just an off day.
And then I just don't think they have anybody that is prolific in front of the net to really put the ball in the back of the net. You know, they miss what, say, a Fulham have, and, you know, a out and out number 9 that consistently puts the ball in the net. And I just think that's kind of missed. Like, they have everything else. They work hard. They're very industrious off the ball. They move well. They stick to the plan and the formation that they're playing. Those finishing balls just aren't always there. Majority of them come from outside the box, and majority of them come from corners, the ball bouncing around in the box and then just lashed home. You don't really see a whole lot of, you know, a through ball being played into Danny Welbeck and him slotting that ball home.
Same could be said for our previous club. Leeds could use an out-and-out striker as well. Leicester City and Palace can't find their scoring boots as they play a 0-0 draw in the early match on Saturday. To me, this is just more evidence that Leicester is they're gone, guys.
Rough.
I
rough.
don't see this coming back at all. Rough. Much different draw down in London. Saw Fulham and Bournemouth exchange punches. This was a pretty fun game, actually. Saw Fulham's frontman, Alexander Mitrovic, to action as they played out a 2-2 draw, and it was a heck of a match.
He got a pen in the second half there, and that's what tied it up. But this was a back and forth just kind of battle of the teams that just came up.
John Madden would call it a slobber knocker.
True story.
He hit him so hard his tongue is lapping the top of his brain. He did. You know, it's funny. They don't make those kind of comments anymore in the NFL.
Sad.
You notice that?
That is sad.
Well, yeah. Maybe it's because there were so many concussions at the very beginning of the season. Ruben Neves penalty strike in the 56 was enough for the Wolves, who desperately needed a win to see out a 1-0 win against dire Nottingham Forest. There was a rich man from Nottingham.
This game was like watching paint dry.
Yeah. You only liked this. I mean, if you were a Wolves fan, that's it.
I mean, they probably should have had 2 or 3 more. They pretty much controlled the game for 75% of it, but in the run of play, they couldn't score either.
Moving on to a Harry Kane penalty. What? He shot a penalty? That never happens. A Hoberg, a lovely footwork strike, and a Conte special, meaning boring football, but you win. And Tottenham, they get all 3 points. They beat Everton by a scoreline of 2-0. Conte
Everton
playing
is like a EKG chart. They win one week and they're right back down. They win one week, like they go on a few and then they're back down. They're all over the map, but I don't think they're one of the worst teams at the moment.
Oh no, there's a lot worse to go around.
And Lampard always looks lost on the sideline.
So is he?
Yeah, it's always like he's trying to find. Hey, is the 10:30 bus coming? Like
I'm in Liverpool. I need to get down to London.
Is he not going to get canned now? Is he going to somehow squeak through the season?
I bet he does.
Is he going to pull an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and he's in trouble, then wins a game he shouldn't. In trouble, then wins a game he shouldn't.
Possibly.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
and just gets strung on a little bit longer. Where was I at? Capitalizing on a mistake early on. Mason Mount opens the scoring in the 6th minute and adds a second in the 65th as Chelsea go on to win 2-0 over Aston Villa. Hashtag Gerard Watch in full effect. To the point, did you see what the conversation is that Villa is approaching Pochettino?
Well,
I would like that for Villa.
What's really great about that is a team that continues to win nothing will hire Pochettino and continue to win nothing.
Thank you. It's like it's a guaranteed 10-year job for him because he can just come in and rebuild, just eke it up slowly. And look, he got Tottenham somewhere. He could get somewhere, but just not like over that hump.
But that's all Villa need is that they just need to get somewhere because they are nowhere right now.
Yeah, Villa. The rumors floating around where Unai Emery, and that Poch they're trying to go after, and then Thomas Tuchel as well, but that seems less likely.
Yeah,
although Thomas Tuchel is constantly on social media, people running in.
Great.
Was he in India and like Chelsea fans were like taking pictures with him and stuff? Like everywhere he goes, man.
Everywhere he goes.
I mean,
it's so great.
Even though you guys have Chelsea's on the bounce here, but everybody's still acting like Tuchel. Somehow if Chelsea doesn't get in the top 4, the fan base will all be convinced Tuchel absolutely could have done it.
Yeah. Well, one interesting thing, two interesting things about this match. One is, well, maybe they're not about this match, but 2 interesting things around the Chelsea world is that we didn't actually play that well in this match. We got it done, kind of like Blake was saying earlier. You look at the back on the season and you say teams that are, doing good find a way to win. This was a way to win, but Villa played like Chelsea normally does, and Chelsea played like Villa normally does. So it wasn't that great a match. But also the news came out, I guess Friday, that N'Golo Kante's injury is serious enough that he's not coming back till February or March. Oof. And that also means he is not going to play for France in the World Cup.
That's so sad.
We are missing probably the best midfielder in the World Cup. And
it hurts you, but that really hurts France for the World Cup, I think. Yeah. I think that really, because I think you guys could still soldier on and make something out of this season without a doubt. France needs him. That's rough. And rough for him. You only get so many World Cups in your career, so that sucks. And he's a good player, good dude.
Yeah, it's really sad. I'm lamenting that because he's such a great player.
Yeah. A guy that makes any team automatically better. Next up, big chances missed by both. I'm not sure what that is supposed to say, Ferris. I think you wrote something funny there. Big chances
I probably did.
Missed, and an odd goal that was scored but called off summarized the day at Old Trafford as Manchester United and Newcastle United played out a 0-0 draw. That's why you didn't type that one out right, because you were frustrated, just like Man United and Newcastle were.
No, not necessarily Man United, but definitely Ronaldo.
Woo, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I was listening to this on Counterattack today on XM, and the goal, I don't know if you guys saw this at all. We won't go into great detail. You can go and kind of watch the extended highlights, but there was this very odd play that Ronaldo scored on and basically took the ball from Pope, and just slotted it home with everybody kind of just standing still. And at first you're like, what the hell's he doing? But you go back and you watch it. The ball is, the ref blows his whistle. The ball is moved. His arm's in the air. And it looks like that ball's live to me. And that was a discussion they were kind of having on Counterattack, where I think it was Eric when Ronaldo was saying, it's one of those goals that if you were a United fan, you're going, no, that ball's live. That ball's live. If you're on the other end, you're like, come on, that ball wasn't in play yet, or that ball wasn't live. Very, very interesting moment that would have made it 1-0, but nonetheless, I think a 0-0 draw probably played out the correct way. Both clubs had their chances, just neither of them got a goal out of it.
And we're talking about Newcastle United, a team with no sky. Sky's the limit with these guys, according to Jurgen Klopp.
It was like the battle of old money and new money.
Yeah. Did you see that with him? So these guys, they have no limit. Newcastle, Man City, we have a limit. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We should have known a red card for him was coming, because he was fired up this whole week before actually getting to the pitch. Declan Rice, the second half equalizing goal was enough to earn West Ham a point as they drew 1-1 with Southampton. Southampton, scrappy little team. And like I said, West Ham, you never know who's going to show up.
Yep.
Yeah. The way that both teams have played all season, you probably could have guessed draw, and that's exactly what you got.
And now we move on to the captain of kippers, the sultan of sausage, the bon vivant, because I'm going to use it again, of baloney. Ron with the beer news.
What does that word even mean?
It's French.
No clue.
I don't know.
It sounds about right.
It does.
It probably means
I'm gonna look it up.
nothing compared to what
I just don't know how to. I don't know how to spell it, but I'm gonna look it up right now.
So, I have one quick kind of story for beer news this week. I am kind of sad to report.
I'm sorry, Ron. It's perfect. Before we get to depressing, I have to do funny because it's no good after, because your story is depressing. This is actually appropriate. A bon vivant is a person who enjoys a sociable and luxurious lifestyle. So I'm sorry, but the bon vivant of baloney, that totally works.
What is that like? Is that like lounging on a baloney couch?
I think like, James Bond on his off time, he's a bon vivant,
I don't know if James Bond ever ate bologna in his life.
I said a bon vivant, not a baloney.
Oh. It's a bon vivant of bologna.
No, it's not
Ron
bon
saying
vivant.
Bologna couches. You can't compare James. Like James Bond would never be caught dead
bon
eating
vivant.
a bologna and cheese sandwich.
Bon vivant's a person who enjoys a sociable and luxurious lifestyle. I just added the bon vivant of bologna to it.
Yeah, and then Ron added the bologna couch, and then you threw James Bond out there like that. You cannot. Come on.
Hey, speaking of James Bond, have you watched the movie yet?
No, I haven't. Oh. Apparently, they're all on.
They're on
Amazon now, though. That was just dropped earlier this month, but no, I have not yet. I haven't had time.
Yeah, what a bunch of horse that
is. Yeah, you need to watch
I will
that.
watch it. I promise you.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Ron. Sorry to interrupt you. I know you got depressing beer news, though.
Yeah.
So this month, St. Joseph's Abbey, located about an hour west of Boston,